Hello and welcome to the other end of my kitchen, and welcome to Formula Food for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. It is currently still November, it's actually November 4th. They're still building the racetrack in Jeddah, but that's not the point, or might be the point if this episode never gets released because we don't race there, besides the point. Yes, Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, what better thing to do than experiment with one of my all-time favourite drinks. Strange enough, it's not beer, it is in fact coffee. And I've bought myself and been practicing with a sezve, I think that's what it's called. Little sort of Arabic style coffee pot, sort of hammered out copper, lovely wooden handle. Even came with this small wooden spoon, absolutely tiny wooden spoon, another tiny wooden spoon. And I've been looking at making Arabic coffee because, well, it's just something different to do really. So that's what we're going to give a go. We've got some coffee sitting here in my grinder, and what we're going to do is we're going to add in some typical herbs and spices that you would find in Arabic style coffee. And the first thing we're going to pop in is just one cardamom pod, because I've done some practice runs, I'll admit, because I was just eager to find out what it would taste like. Putting two in is a little too many. So one of those goes into the pot. We'll take our little wooden spoon and measure out some ground cinnamon. Perhaps 2 tiny spoonfuls of the ground cinnamon. And again, from previous experimenting, about 5 whole cloves. They're going to go in, they smell fantastic. I would recommend, if you ever have the chance to play around with your coffee in the morning, adding cloves to the brew. If you've even got a French press, just drop them in when you drop in the coffee powder. It smells amazing. Perfect for winter evenings. And at the last point, once it's all ground together, we will add in a strand or 2 of saffron to give this a much brighter yellowish brown colour. So we have the base ingredients into our grinder. All we've got left to do is turn it on at the wall and there we have it. We have a slightly lighter than usual looking coffee ground. It is incredibly fine. Typically when you do Saudi Arabian coffees, if it's done traditionally, it's done using, I think it's a brass or a copper sort of bowl, and everything is ground down to the point where it's like a very fine sugar. So that's what we're aiming for here. And we're not going to put it into our pot straight away. There is a proper method to doing this. The first part is you add your water to the pot, and then you boil it. So we'll take it over here. Pop it on the hob, which is completely out of shot over here, and we're going to bring that up to a boil. Then we'll take the foam off the top of the water, then add in our coffee mix and our saffron and bring it back up to a boil. And apparently this is supposed to give you a very nice Arabic coffee. So we'll probably skip over just watching water boil. It's not particularly interesting. Okay, so as you can see, our pot has come to the boil, so we can take it immediately off the hob, and we've got our coffee grounds, our full mix in this little blue pot here, which I'm going to introduce to the water. There we go, nicely. And stir in. There we go. Using our tiny wooden spoon. Regular viewers of the channel might recognise this pot here from the Qatar Grand Prix episode. Pay no attention to it in this one, there will be a link in one of the corners to go and watch it though. So if you want to find out how to make, I think it's mashbous or matchbous, go check out that video. So we have our coffee introduced there. Just got to add our final ingredient. The slightest pinch of saffron. Just a pinch. Oh, not that much. Nowhere near that much. That'll do. A strand or 2 of saffron. In you go. Well, it's not strands, is it? It's pistils, isn't it? That's what saffron's called. So stir our saffron into the coffee. Using our tiny wooden spoon. And then we're going to return the pot back to the hob, back onto the flame, and leave that to come back up to boiling point. Then once it's boiled, we can serve it out. And then once your coffee has come up to the boil, you can put it into a similarly themed cup. It was this one or the alpaca mug that everyone's seen on this channel several times before. Crucially, don't let the coffee boil over, as it makes what looks like is going to be a tricky mess to clear up from the hob. But anyway, coffee in the cup, and it smells fantastic, beautiful and herbal and spicy. You can tell there's the cloves in there. It smells almost like a mulled wine or a mulled cider. The cinnamon in it is absolutely wonderful. It smells a bit like a chai latte in that regard. The cardamom pods, brilliant, sort of on the nose, very bright aromatic smell. And it tastes fantastic. All the way through the palate, it is fresh, it is invigorating, and crucially, it is typically served before meals in most sort of countries along the Arabian Peninsula. You would sort of have this almost as a starter, an appetizer, something to whet the appetite, which is a good idea because I'm about to actually get on with filming the Formula Food episode for Qatar. So this has worked out nicely. Cheers.